Hello again everybody, and welcome to the English Teacher's Guide to creating the perfect newspaper article for your exams. Firstly, and we might need to pause this in a moment please so you can note down your answer. How do you write a newspaper article? What are the different elements that you need to include, and how do you write it in a way that will help you gain perfect marks? So please pause this now and write down what you feel you need to do, because the method is arguably one of the most important things. Okay, so hopefully you would have something that looks a bit like this. Number one, we plan our content. It's always really important to plan what we do before we write it. That way we know the direction that we're heading in. We don't have to stop and waste time trying to think about what to write next. And it also means we feel more confident because we know what we're doing, just ticking off different sections as we go along. Next, we need to make sure we include a headline which grabs our reader's attention, nice and clear across the top. It can use a pun if you're doing something slightly more informal, or if it's slightly more formal, sort of broadsheet article, then it can simply be a summary of the article itself. Within our first paragraph, this is our introductory paragraph and includes the 5 W's. Now hopefully you should know what these are. It's who, what, where, when and why. So our introductory paragraph should briefly summarise what the whole story should be about. Then we move into our main body. We need to explore the story in detail. We use more information such as quotations, previous histories on the event, or people within the event. So this is basically the main body. It's the detail of the story. Then finally, in our conclusion, this is where we move away from past tense, because we're writing about what has happened, to what will happen in the future. So the court case will resume on so-and-so's next fixture will be next week against. We get the idea. But please remember, do not confuse a newspaper article with a television interview. I've seen so many times that people write as if they are a news reporter rather than writing as if they are creating a newspaper article. And that shows they've not revised reading newspaper articles as part of their work. Always write in the past tense, apart from the conclusion. And don't worry about writing columns. All the examiner's looking for you to do is just to write it out in full. So don't confuse yourself by using columns. Okay, now within any language paper, any paper that's assessing your writing, you need to make sure you include these elements in order to get perfect marks as well. So again, plan the content. I keep mentioning it because it's very important. Then we need to make sure it matches the purpose. So a newspaper article is always generally to inform. Make sure your piece matches the genre, so it has to look exactly like a newspaper article, although again remember we don't have to include columns. You need to use a variety of sentence types: simple, compound, complex. You need to use different sentence types for effects if we can. We need to make sure we've got a variety of sentence starters, not just next, the. We need to make sure we use complex punctuation, trying to use them for effect where possible. So this is where you'll be using your semicolons, your brackets. You need to also consider formality. Is this a very formal or informal piece? We need to think about our paragraph lengths. Make sure we use different lengths of paragraphs. We need to make sure we spell all complex words correctly. However, obviously, make sure we get the basics right first. Tip here, it's better to use complex words and spell them wrong than to just use simple words, because if you only use simple words and get them all correct, you are creating a ceiling for yourself in terms of the marks you can receive. Next, we make sure the whole text structure is effective. Does the whole piece link together? Do the paragraphs form a nice cohesive unit? We need to make sure our piece is interesting as well. That's really important. Now think about it. If your exam piece that's being marked is number 220 for the examiner, if it's not interesting, they're not going to be looking for the marks for you. So make sure that if it's an interesting piece, they're going to be more involved, more engaged in your writing, and therefore like it more and hopefully give you more marks. But the most important thing I feel for any kind of writing, especially for the exams in language papers, is to get perfect marks. You're looking to show off how good you are as a writer. If you are, if we're talking about sport, and someone throws you a soccer ball or football, and all you do is just trap it, no one's going to think you're very good at it. However, if someone gives you a football and you're showing all the different tricks and skills you can do, everyone's going to think you're really good at it. And it's the same for your writing here. Now, Exams will always base it around your life in some way. So here's the question you may get asked in the exam. Write an article for your school's newspaper based on one of the following topics: a sporting event, a successful teacher, this is obviously where I'm plugging myself here, or a student caught cheating in the exam. I'm going to go with the successful teacher because hopefully that's what I aspire to be. And this is my plan. I've planned the different sections. My headline: top teacher takes award, so I've used alliteration there. English teacher wins international award for tutoring. Then the detail part: how the scheme works, the history of the scheme. We interviewed different students, and then the final conclusion is in the future continues to extend the work. So I know exactly what I'm going to be writing in each section, so it flows, it's nice and cohesive. I've also noted down all different types of punctuation, and a good tip here is when you've used them, put a line through it. When you use it again, put another line through it. So hopefully I end up looking a little bit like a star. And then when I go back to that at the end of the piece, I can see which piece of punctuation I haven't used. I've also included some complex words that I might want to include in my work. And finally at the bottom, I make sure that I note down things that I might forget to do. So I always forget to proofread. I might have also written down that I want to use different sentence starters. And that will help me immensely in my writing. Let's take a look at what the final piece of poem marks will look like. So, top teacher takes top award. There's my alliteration. Headline: it's nice and clear what the article is going to be about, but it doesn't give too much away. So let's see if I've used the 5 W's in the introduction. So last night, so when, the English teacher who received the highest accolade possible for teachers, so what, where, in London, due to his incredible work this year, so why. There's my 5 W's, nice and clear, nice and easy. Everyone should now know what this article is going to be about. I'm now moving into the detail. The Teacher Oscars Awards ceremony, which takes place in Buckingham Palace, celebrates the most inspirational and successful teachers from across the world. Apart from the award received by the English teacher, the governing body celebrates teachers within a number of other categories, such as, this is my different types of punctuation, top primary school teacher, top middle school teacher, lesson of the year, most creative and most inspirational. Apart from the awards mentioned above, so now it's nicely linked together, nice and cohesive, our own English teacher, so again our own is because I'm writing for our school newspaper, so I'm fitting the task, was presented with Best Revision Guide Award, which he accepted with a clear sense of jubilation. As he approached the stage, the special guest presenter, Stephen King, proclaimed, "This award goes to a true dedicated practitioner who has worked tirelessly with young people around the world. The award can surely only go to one man, the English teacher." Notice I'm not saying things like we interviewed Stephen King, because that's the mistake people make when they try and imagine as if they were on a TV show rather than a newspaper article. Joined on stage by the rest of our school's English department, the English teacher looked visibly taken aback by the comments made and dedicated the award to all of the pupils who want to achieve the highest possible grades, work tirelessly to do that, but just feel they need that little extra bit of support. It's important to revise how you quote properly in newspaper articles, and as it's part of the sentence, I'd simply put a comma before and started in lowercase. Since working at our school in 2009, the English teacher has established himself as a top teacher who has brought success to numerous students over the years. One former pupil, who wished to remain nameless, felt, "He is fantastic," shorter sentence. "He always knows how to help us to get the best grades. I'm so glad he's been recognised in this way." Our headmaster also remarked that the accolade is fully deserved. He has always put the future of our students first, is truly dedicated, and is an inspiration for all the other teachers at the school. This is our final paragraph, so it should be in the future tense. When asked what he now intends to do, the English teacher vowed to continue to create work which helps future generations of students to achieve the highest possible marks. And that's it. Obviously you need to make sure you proofread, which I need to do in a bit more detail next time. Remember the method. Remember all the elements of writing skills you need to show in order to get the perfect marks. And it's as simple as that. So keep revising hard. I recommend that if you need to revise reading newspaper articles, then you read newspaper articles. But thank you very much and good luck.